Two new Battlefield games have been confirmed by EA. Call of Duty creates tension between Sony and Microsoft, Cyberpunk 2077 gets a huge update, and much more on This Week in Gaming. EA made some massive announcements for Battlefield this week. Halo co-creator Marcus Leto's new Seattle studio was formally revealed. It's called Ridgeline Games and will develop the next narrative campaign set in the Battlefield universe. According to EA, it'll engage fans in new ways while staying true to the classic elements of the series. As well as this, EA confirmed the Portal developers, Ripple Effect, are currently focusing on creating an entirely new Battlefield multiplayer game. As for DICE, it's unclear what their next major projects or roles are, other than continuing to develop the tools required to make the games. As for Battlefield 2042 specifically, EA confirms that more content is coming, though they don't really mention continued support beyond Season 4. They also announced that Lars Gustafsson is leaving DICE after 20 years with the franchise. Lars has been the creative director that whole time and is behind some of the franchise's most beloved games. Losing him will surely shake things up behind the scenes. Call of Duty may become a Microsoft exclusive release in the next 5 years. This comes after Microsoft boss Phil Spencer revealed that the company is committed to keeping COD on PlayStation for several more years. Of course, Sony isn't happy with this, and CEO Jim Ryan called the proposal inadequate. He believes losing COD after almost 20 years would have a massively negative effect on PlayStation gamers. He also states that it would be difficult for other developers to create a franchise that could rival Activision's Call of Duty. Microsoft, of course, argues that COD isn't that big a deal. Lawyers across the UK, Europe, and US will continue to monitor the agreement to see if the takeover will create a monopoly. Call of Duty Warzone Mobile was also teased for the first time. It hints at the return of the fan favorite Verdansk map, and that more details will be shared at their COD Next event. Star Citizen developers Cloud Imperium Games have been hard at work on the game's next patch. In a blog post, the devs outlined what the next update will improve. Key areas include AI quality and behavior, facial and body animations, engine overhauls, and design changes to ships and characters. New missions and gameplay mechanics are also being refined by the QA devs. Other teams are continuing to improve different areas of the game, such as the user interface, visual effects, and lighting. A new update video went live this week. The video depicts the new crash sites coming to Daymar in Alpha 3.18. Two fairly large crash ships will be fully explorable. There's also another look at the Colonial Outpost. Each section is decorated with environmental storytelling and detail, making the world a bit more believable. The next update is expected to go live later this year. Cloud Imperium stated that more details will be shared at the upcoming Citizencon event, which is happening on October 8th. Mark your calendars. This annual event will share behind-the-scenes details from the developers of the game and award players with in-game content. The majority of the focus for Citizencon this year seems like it'll be on the 4.0 update introducing the next system, Pyro, and server meshing. Cyberpunk 2077 developer CD Projekt Red made big announcements this week. The first and only expansion, Phantom Liberty, was revealed. Update 1.6, the game's latest major patch, went live as well. Official modding tools called Red Mod have become available for PC players, and a new performance mode for the Xbox Series S allowing 60 FPS gameplay is now available. Phantom Liberty will introduce a whole new region of the game. New and returning voice actors will expand the storyline, including the return of Keanu Reeves. CD Projekt Red has confirmed that this will be the only expansion for the game, though significant overhauls to the police system and stat tree will be added at some point. Patch 1.6 makes more quality of life fixes and adds a new wardrobe feature. This allows players to customize their cosmetics without removing armor, ratings, or other stats. And of course, Red Mod will enable players to add their own sounds, animations, and scripts to the game. It's a massive expansion to the existing patchwork of mod tools players have been using since the game launched. Unfortunately, this week's update will be the final major content update that last-gen console players get. They won't be getting the Phantom Liberty expansion either. To make up for this, CD Projekt Red are offering refunds to Xbox One X Cyberpunk Edition console owners. This was a special edition version of the game that was supposed to give owners free access to the game's expansions. The developers are working on appropriate compensation for all last-gen console players. As well as Cyberpunk 2077, the developers at CD Projekt are working on their own massively popular IP, The Witcher. CD Projekt CEO confirmed the upcoming fourth Witcher game will be the beginning of a whole new trilogy. Pre-production on this fourth game has only just begun, so it's probably a few years away. But it's exciting to hear that a second Witcher saga is planned. Some speculate that this new trilogy will be a refresh of the series and follow different characters and storylines. In Ubisoft news, the Chinese media giant Tencent invested over $300 million into the publisher. Ubisoft retains its overall stakes, while Tencent moves from owning 4.5% to 9.9% shares. This isn't enough to give Tencent a seat on the board of directors, and it's a nice cash injection for Ubisoft. The extra funding allows them to fend off any hostile takeovers that might come their way from the bigger publishers such as Sony or Microsoft. And for Tencent, the deal gives them access to Ubisoft's library of games that can be released in China. Tencent also plans to port some of Ubisoft's biggest games to mobile devices, as that's the most popular platform in the East. Nvidia has begun teasing its next generation of graphics cards. They've labeled the event GeForce Beyond, which will take place on September 20th. The rumors about Nvidia's new RTX 40 series cards have been circulating for months. Enthusiasts are speculating that the cards will be much more demanding regarding their power consumption. They're also expected to run about twice as fast as the current gen RTX 30 series, which seems, well, kind of impossible. Nvidia already announced that specifications would be detailed at the GPU Technology Conference, and the reveal livestream takes place simultaneously. The PlayStation 5 received a new software update this week. The update features a few highly requested features, most notably 1440p support over HDMI. This resolution is a sweet middle ground between 1080p and 4K. Also included is the library feature. This allows players to group their games into dedicated lists. There's also a few quality of life improvements as well as some new features for the mobile app. Images of a brand new internal design for the PlayStation 5 have surfaced online this week as well. These new models in Australia feature a redesigned motherboard and cooling layout. All the changes led to a considerable weight reduction and improved cooling. However, no changes to the device's exterior have been spotted yet. New unconfirmed leaks reveal details on the upcoming entry to the Bioshock series. Officially, 2K Games announced in 2019 that a Bioshock game was in production, but since then we've only heard rumors of its rough development. According to these leaks, the next game will be called Bioshock Isolation and set in Antarctica. It'll be an open-world environment much bigger than previous games in the series. The protagonist will be a new playable character, while past side characters are set to return. The game's art style will take inspiration from 1960s counterculture and psychedelic themes. Bioshock 4 was part of the Nvidia GeForce Now games leak a few years ago, but it seems unlikely that 2K will reveal any new official details in the near future. Just 4 months after its acquisition by industry giant Embracer Group, the Crystal Dynamics game studio has formally announced that it once again owns the rights to Tomb Raider games. While Crystal Dynamics didn't start the Tomb Raider series, it has led the development of the recent games like Tomb Raider Legend, 2013's reboot, and Rise of the Tomb Raider. However, publishers at Square Enix handed the series to Eidos Montreal for 2018's game, but Embracer Group now owns the whole IP, so they've given control back to Crystal Dynamics. Additionally, Eidos Montreal was given control over their games as well. These include Deus Ex and the Thief games. It's good to see studios getting their properties back in-house. Crystal Dynamics is already working on the next Tomb Raider game, powered by Unreal Engine 5. Before we move on to today's last topic, let us know what you think of the big Battlefield announcements. Are you excited for Ripple Effect's new multiplayer game and Ridgeline Games' new campaign, or has 2042 put you off of the series entirely? Let us know in the comments. First-person shooter classic Wolfenstein Enemy Territory, made by Splash Damage, has gotten a new dedicated server after 20 years. Bethesda has spun up servers running the original 6 maps and rule set. There's 4 dedicated servers to choose from, 1 in each region that the game is available. Many fans have wondered why Bethesda would do something so generous for the community. Maybe there's a secondary motive, or is it just good guy Bethesda? It is pretty cool that players can hop back in though and play that 2003 classic. And that wraps it up for This Week in Gaming. As always, guys, thank you so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed, and I'll catch you next time. This is Level Cap, signing off.